intermediaries, the government? Do we need some sort of code of conduct? This was suggested in one of the talks. So responsible behavior for data usage. And somebody proposed a farm data sharing checklist that outlines also how farmers benefit. And there was very important, the term informed consent came up in a number of presentations. Informed consent of producers of data, owners of data, of farmers, and especially of vulnerable communities. Trusted data. So there's how can the privacy and security of farm data be assured? And tracking the food chain for integrity. There was talk about immutable audit trails for linked data using blockchain technology, but at the same time, questioning how mature that technology is. Is it performant, scalable? And improving trust in research by publishing the underlying data. So this theme of trust came up quite a bit. And then, of course, the concept of linked data itself. Does linked data mean that you triplify everything, turn everything into RDF triples? No, I think that was quite clear from the presentations. There's also raster data, barcodes, binary formats, CSVs, APIs, many different forms and formats of data. One might think perhaps of RDF as the backbone for linked data, analogously to the role that HTML plays on the document web. And then there were applications that showed how linked data can become useful when applications provide integrated access to data. So there was also, in a number of talks, a tension between harmonization and diversity. So linked open data needs common vocabularies, and the lack of shared semantics can result in very complex linked data. This came out, for example, in the work done around the Godan Soil Working Group, where soil data is extremely diverse and decentralized. Open data finds new users, so soil data, if it's made available in a reusable form, it's useful not just for the traditional users of soil data, but also for people interested in land use, interested in carbon storage, and topics like that. And a few talks touched on the trade-off between fuzzy versus precise semantics. So sometimes the subtle differences can be legally, culturally, or scientifically important. So that's a countervailing force against trying to reduce everything to common vocabularies. And I think it has to do with the human condition and the linguistic condition of linguistics of the human condition. So who ensures quality? So there was an example of, somebody mentioned the example of suppliers who may not even know their own data and may respond, or somebody who responded, the guy who designed this left 3 years ago. So who is responsible? The question of responsibility, who's responsible for cleanup if data makes your tractor dump a huge pile of manure somewhere? Can the data be held responsible in some way? How can business models be balanced? So the use of public funding versus pay per use, and is there a role for institutions to reliably maintain data as a public obligation? So the audience will be writing up a workshop report. I want to thank all of the speakers and all of the moderators, and also the unsung heroes from our point of view, the note takers, who in each session took detailed notes on things that came up also in the question and answer periods. So thank you all. If any of the note takers have not sent us, if you have not sent your notes, please send them to the LOD workshop email address or talk to one of us after this session. All of the workshop materials will be available, including the final report. Here's a shortened URL to the location where you can that you can bookmark to find them. But we'll be sending around announcements, of course, as things become available. So that's really, I just wanted to introduce these very broad topics as a way of spending the last 45 minutes, I believe, of our conference in a rather free-form discussion. First of all, does the summary miss some really big topics that you'd like to call out right now? Or if anyone has any comments at all, great. Okay, here's one.
One of the topics that I saw kind of recurring that I didn't see up there on your slides was sort of the recurring challenge of taking structured data that was not in RDF and turning it into RDF. And I heard one of the presentations talking about several months in order to basically transform some fairly detailed GIS data into RDF. And a couple of tools were mentioned, but it seemed to be a common challenge.
Yes, thank you for this. The summary is quite neat, quite careful, all these conclusions documented. But you need almost a new workshop to understand all the conclusions, because it's quite a long list. But I was wondering whether we can come to 2 or 3, maybe 4 recommendations to address the meetings you have on the slide. And of course, I would like to make a suggestion. One is reuse of existing information.
Yes.
The governments, the European Union, UN has a lot of data available already. And what I learned about the technological-oriented presentation was that it's quite a challenge to have all these data available, being reused in a good way. Secondly, may I continue?
Sure.
Secondly, there is a lot of initiative all over the world to pick up and start with open data, and to avoid that they are exclusive. But when you're exclusive, you isolate yourself immediately. It would be great when, on a global scale, governments would support open data. I think GODAN would like to suggest that GODAN will start and empower some sort of network on the governmental level, to at least have a recognition on a governmental level to support several initiatives on open data and to link them to each other. I had a third thing, but sorry, I forgot. I will come back to it maybe later. But in general, can we come to 2 or 3 recommendations to this meeting? I just did 2 suggestions for it. Thank you.
I would second strongly Stjert and his first recommendation to looking for synergies and looking for, not for European, for global collaboration environment as much as it is possible. One of the very good effects of such a conference, a workshop like this, is also that contacts established, what I have seen from various bilateral contacts, people who are working about similar things and getting together. But this is not enough. I think we need an organized, semi-organized working environment in which the most important institutions who are in the agricultural development area and who are working on information infrastructure are working together. And I see this workshop also in the context of this ongoing processes. There are others, we had the CGIAR here, and the CGIAR at the moment is working on a big data platform, a very large funded project, and they want that this is not something what is only CGIAR. They want to put this into a global initiative. The same is what we are doing in what is called the eROSA project, what is Horizon 2020 finance support action to outline roadmaps for better information infrastructures. And I think this is all in a certain context, and I think if we have one strong recommendation of this workshop, is strengthening this process of collaboration.
What hinders collaboration?
Okay, Dan.
Yeah, Dan Brookley, Google. I want to jump back a couple of speakers to the point about turning things into triples, turning them into semantic web. The ancestor to linked data technology was W3C RDF. And RDF, we created it as a metadata standard. It was very much in the tradition of Dublin Core, where I met Tom 20 years ago. So the point back then was to use this stuff not as the single format that everything must be represented in, but as a way of finding resources. I think there's something in that we've sometimes forgotten in this community. We can spend a lot of time and money trying to convert everything into RDF. And there are some very basic use cases, which we're exploring at Google, where the RDF is just describing a data set. And then you go off, you land on a page, and maybe it's a spreadsheet, maybe it's a weird GIS format, maybe it's an MP3 file or a WAV file. And I would encourage this community to not forget that rather boring use case. And Paul, in his keynote, was kind enough to plug the work we're doing at Google using schema.org markup to describe data sets. I'm not going to try and dictate the URL to you now, but I'll make sure the URL ends up in the report. And if you check out the link, you can see what we're doing at Google, which says a little bit of metadata in a page about a data set will help Google do a better job, drive people to find your stuff. That was a sneaky plug-in.